How much does it cost to actually start playing darts? And I'm not talking about spending 30 quid down the pub or the most expensive equipment like the Target Elysians, who even buys them. What I'm talking about is the bare minimum equipment you need to start playing darts. If you can't be asked to stay around for this video and you just want a short answer, then the amount is around 43 quid. You might be thinking, why is it that much? I could easily get a set of darts and a board for a hell of a lot cheaper than that. Stay tuned and I'll tell you why. My name is Ross and welcome to Clash of the Tungsten. If you've been here before, what are you saying? If this is the first time on the channel, alright. If you enjoy the video content today, then please consider subscribing so you don't miss another darts related video. So you might be thinking, why £43? That seems like quite a lot of money to start playing darts. I mean, darts has got to be a fairly cheap sport to play, right? The reason I'm doing this video is so that you don't make the same mistake as I did. Back in around 2015, I decided that I did want to start playing darts. So what was the first thing I'd done? Went down to Argos and bought a dartboard. You know what it's like when you first start something. You don't have the knowledge that you would have if you've been playing the sport for a long amount of time. Even though I was watching darts quite a lot, I still wasn't clued up because I didn't play myself on the equipment side of things. If you have two separate products, they're the same looking thing, and you can't really distinguish the difference because you don't have the knowledge behind the products, then you're more likely to go for the cheaper option because it's cheaper, right? So this is why I'm making this video, so that you don't make the same mistake as I did, because essentially what I done, I bought a really bad board, I bought a really bad set of brass darts, and then I ended up buying another board, and then I ended up buying another set of darts. Effectively, it cost me twice because I bought two products when I could have just done a little bit of research and just bought one. Let me show you what I mean, because if we do look at certain dart products, they do look very similarly priced, and I want to give you guys, if you're not too sure and not too clued up on what you should buy, then hopefully this video will help. Let's dive into the PC. I'm on Perfect Darts here and I've just clicked straight onto the boards. So we've got a few sections here which you don't always get with dart shops. Sometimes you have the board sort of bungled in, you know, they're like mixed in with each other. As an outsider looking in, if you weren't familiar with the sport as such and you were just, you know, taking a look at what you see here, these two boards here, ignore where it says bargain dart boards, but at a glance these two boards here look pretty similar. If we go on to bargain dartboards here, so we've got a Mission Apollo entry level dartboard, a Mission Access player level dartboard, and then a Winmau Diamond Plus, which is actually the board that I started on when I first started playing, because I was actually gifted it from someone who had it laying around in a garage and they knew I was trying to get into it, so they sort of just gave me that. If we look at the price in here, this is £26.40, which it doesn't look like a bad price, but if we go back and go to the professional grade ones, we've got the Mission Samurai 2, which I've heard fairly good things about. If we look here, £29.95. So there's only £3 difference. If you weren't into the sport and you didn't really know the equipment side of things, then you would still probably go for the Winmau Diamond because it's you're making a saving. It's £3 cheaper and it looks essentially the same. But if we dive in a little bit deeper, even though the descriptions on Perfect Darts, this is why I chose Perfect Darts, because their descriptions are a lot more in depth. On the title here, it actually does say ultra thin wire. And what this basically means is that the sections and the scoring segments are divided by a blade wire. And the blade wire is thinner and it's staple free. So that essentially means that you're less likely to get bounce ups. At £29.95, this is the sort of product you want to go for. You don't want to go for round wire boards because if you hit a staple, you're going to get a bounce out. If you hit a round wire, you're going to get a bounce out. And technically, because the wires are bigger, there's less scoring space. So essentially, you'll be doing yourself a favour by purchasing a board like this. It's only £3 more. So I wish I'd done this back when I was just starting out. Although I was gifted the Winmau board eventually, which was still a round wire board, I bought something called a Winmau Rebel set, which was a dartboard that weren't even full size. It was literally just, I don't even know what it was. It looked like a kid's board. It was pretty embarrassing. For £29.95, you can get yourself a Mission Samurai, which, like I say, I've heard good things about. Ultra thin wire. As a beginner, this is what you want to look out for. Don't buy a round wire board, because although they are slightly cheaper, it's an inferior product, so you'd be stupid to buy it like I did. This would be my recommendation purely on the price. So that takes our total up so far to £29.95. This is a little bit of a bonus advice for you guys, or if you're not in the know, then you will be after what I say now. You might be wondering what jump in price is all about and why this is $74.95 and the Blade 5 dual core is $46.95. The Shot actually market their version as being a dense bristle, and Winmau actually brand their version as being dual core. So what does dual core mean? A dartboard is actually made of sisal, which is the furry sort of material that's on a dartboard that your darts stick into. On a standard board, you know, around this sort of price range, you have what's known as single core. That basically means that there's just a single core of sisal around the board. What the dual core is 2 cores of sisal. The first core, the inner core if you like, will be a lot tougher and a lot harder and a lot more durable, whilst the second core, which the dart actually penetrates into, is softer and has less compression. And what this basically means is that your dart can penetrate the first core easier and stick into the harder inner core. You get less bounce outs. The other positive with the dual core board is that because it has dual cores, it's a lot more durable, so it's going to last you longer. Personally, if you're first starting out, I wouldn't really bother with this. It's not double the price, but it's half of another board on top. If I was just starting out, I'd go for the board that I just recommended before this, but that's a little bit of bonus advice for you. The next thing that I did mess up on when I first started out is brass darts, and the reason that I messed up on this is because, again, I wasn't in the know and I was just looking at getting started cheap. So back in the 80s and 90s, brass was quite easy to get hold of and manufacture. If you go back and look at like old videos of Bristow, of Jockey Wilson, they did use brass darts back then. They didn't have the manufacturing capabilities that we do have now in 2020. The problem with brass is that it's a lot lighter material and it's not as hard wearing and it's less dense. So what that means is the barrel's going to be quite thick in diameter. In a sense of darts performance, that means that it's going to be harder to group your darts because they're taking up more room in the boards. Back then, tungsten was less readily available, if you like, and a lot harder to manufacture. But now as time's moved on, manufacturing of tungsten has got really cheap. The beauty with tungsten is that it's a really dense metal, and what that means is you need less of it for more weight, if that makes sense. So you can technically make a barrel that would weigh the same as a brass dart, but because it's denser, it means that it's going to be a hell of a lot thinner than what would be the same weight as a brass dart. What this does in a sense of darting performance is you can squeeze more of these tungsten barrels into a certain scoring area. This is why professionals and pub grade players choose tungsten over brass. Back in day as well, brass was a lot cheaper to buy. People like myself, I saw the price of a brass dart and thought, yeah, that'll do, that'll be alright, but I had no idea how that would reflect my darting performance. The thing is, people that sell brass darts are still going to make money, and the reason is that they're not aiming for, nowadays, the pub player or people that are serious about getting better at darts. This is why dart manufacturers still make brass darts, because they're aiming for that market of maybe grandparents buying their grandchildren their first dartboard, and they're not really clued up themselves. So this is why dart manufacturers still hang on to this. Tungsten darts is more for the people that want to perform better and work on their darting ability. Tungsten darts range in price, and that's all dependent really on the workmanship and how difficult the dart is to manufacture. The target lesions, for example, are the price they are because the person actually making that dart in the factory is taking a lot of time crafting and painting and etching and making the grit. That's where the price is. Tungsten darts nowadays are a lot cheaper to manufacture, and you can get some good bargains, which I'm going to show you now. The percentage is basically the amount of tungsten that is in the barrel. The reason we have this percentage, currently our manufacturing process involves using another metal such as nickel or copper to mix with the tungsten. I have spoken about these guys before, I'm not going to keep going on about them, but this is Darts Clearance. They're a shop on eBay that do end of the line darts at really good prices, and I've done a video on it, so I'm not going to keep going on about them, but I'm just using these guys as an example. As we go down and scroll down, we can see that we've got loads and loads of choices here. I'm going to click on these ones just for now. But yeah, so as we go down, these are an 80% tungsten dart. So usually it goes, the higher the tungsten amount, the thinner the dart, because obviously tungsten is dense, so you need more tungsten to make the dart smaller. These aren't going to be the thinnest, but these are still going to be a fairly good quality dart. And the price of these is $12.99, which is basically unbeatable. Let's be honest, like $12.99 for a set of tungsten darts is a great price. And I could put money on it that I could search on eBay for a set of brass darts that are in or around the same price as these, or I could probably even find some that are even more expensive. Like I say, these would be a really great set to start off with. This is what I'm going to base my how much it costs to start playing darts on. We've got the $29.95 from the Mission Samurai, and we've got a $12.99 set of darts. So that's less than 43 quid, and we're basically set up. Obviously, there is more things that you can buy to improve your game and make your setup better, but if you are just starting out, these are the two and only things that you'd be able to set up, get it on the wall and start throwing. In comparison to other sports, I think 43 quid for decent equipment that's going to get you started into the sport, £43 isn't that much. Like, if you do decide that you can't be arsed and you lose interest in playing darts, it's not exactly the end of the world. If you start playing sports like golf, cricket, football, even football now, a decent football with decent padding is going to cost you like nearly £15, and that's for a ball. Not to mention your boots. Cricket bats, they can vary in price depending on the quality. Golf clubs, it's all relative to the sport you're playing. Let me just show you what I mean by the brass darts as well. Straight away, look, a set of snakebite, 22 gram, Peter Wright brass darts, £16.45. It's already more expensive, and if you do order from Darts Clearance, 9 times out of 10 they will send you a set of flights and some stems if it does say barrels only. They go that little extra mile for their customers. See, if we scroll down there, look, a set of MVG darts, $9.95, so it's not far off of the Tungsten darts. Yeah, $9.95. Scrolling down, $12.95 there. Again, basically the same price as the Tungsten darts that we're going to pick up. Anyway, if you are beginning to start out and decided you want to start playing darts, and I really hope this advice will help you out. I wish that there was this information that was really easy accessible when I first started. I think that the darts and the board are basically the fundamental things that you do need to begin playing the sport. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you would recommend a starter player would need to begin playing darts. I really hope that this video was helpful to you beginners out there, and even players that have been playing a little while. I really appreciate you joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.